red orange like this one. I'm going to use a couple different blues. Get you a really, really good dark color, and it's an alive dark color. Do you see how dark that is? It's pretty close to black, but it's not. And I'll even show you on here. I'm going to start painting his tail. I kind of want this tail to look a little bit airy. So I put this paint down, and I'm going to do kind of the wet on wet thing. I took some of the color out of my brush, and now with a really wet brush, I'm going to kind of go along the side of it and let it bleed into there. See how it kind of bled out and I got a smooth gradient? But you don't have to get a smooth gradient. You know, if you just want a dry brush effect, that works too. And if I wanted to paint my background right now, would you tell me go ahead, or would you tell me to wait until that tail's dry?
Wait.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate that's great advice, and I'll follow it. So then while I'm waiting for the tail to dry, maybe I'll just do all of my foreground things instead of starting on the background. And I want these to look like poppies, these flowers that I've got. So I'm going to do them red. And I don't like to use colors right out of the tube. I like to mix them a little bit with other colors so they look more like my own. Like I just made them up. Like colors that nobody else could just get. So I'm going to do this flower a little bit red. Probably a little bit too much blue in my brush still. And then maybe the sun's shining through, so I'll put a little yellow in them. A thing I like to do is mix my colors on the paper too, instead of just on the palette. So I'm just going to take this yellow straight from here and put it next to my red. Maybe it's a little darker at the flower, so I'll take a darker color and plop it in at the bottom. Do you guys get the general idea? You'll really start to figure it out more once you're working on your practice sheet. Maybe it's not as clear when I'm trying to explain it, but once you start really working with it, you can get more of the hang of it. So I'm going to let you get started. Let me get you all some drawing. If you draw too dark on your watercolor paper, then there's something that can show for your watercolor. But if you do draw too dark, you can get an eraser and just kind of lightly erase so you can barely see the lines anymore. Hey, did this look like you were here? I'm coming around with this what happened when it got salt on there.
It looks like similar.
But that would be too. This is good.
How many other data?
Alright, so we're finding that some of these watercolor tubes aren't ejecting any watercolor from them. So they're just kind of like stiff, like they act like they're frozen or something. So I brought out these watercolor cakes. They're like, if you're getting really very frustrated with the watercolor tubes, you can come grab these if you're interested. I'm just going to put them there as an alternative. I want you to fill up that space a little more. Because if you did it about that size on your final paper, look at all the excess white space that you'd have. See what I mean? This good? No, you're painting on paper like this, but bigger. What's that? Yeah, that was the goal, that you would draw it like to size on your scratch paper, so that when you got to your final paper, you wouldn't have to like draw too much on it. Okay, just like that would work if it was just bigger. And then spend some time playing around with the watercolors.